So we started Clover about 6.5 years ago, and we didn't start it as a payment platform. We just started as a point of sale. We were intending to build consumer-facing applications that would help connect consumers more effectively with businesses and help businesses manage their business better, bring in more customers, and work with their customers better. And so we'd actually built some applications. One, it was kind of neat, where you could vault your card, and you could walk into a coffee shop. It identified that you're there. It would automatically transmit your order to the kitchen. You know, your muffin and your coffee would come up. They'd have your name. You'd wave. Payment would be completed in the background. You don't need to tap anything, and you'd leave. And when we took this out to the existing, when we took it out to merchants, they loved it. They wanted to buy it. And when we saw potential bank partners and resellers see it, they loved it as well. They wanted to resell it. But everybody said the same thing: get it integrated with the point of sale that I use today, and it'll be perfect. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we rolled up our sleeves, maybe a little bit cockily, and we said, okay, that'll be easy. So we went off and we talked to the existing point-of-sale systems that were out there, the companies. And what we found was an industry that just simply wasn't ready or interested in sharing open APIs or being open whatsoever. They were really interested in a closed ecosystem that they could control, charge monthly fees for, and really sort of lock the merchant down and lock the experience down.
Credit card swiping point-of-sale machines.
The hardware vendor manufacturers, yeah. We went to one in particular, one of the leaders, and we said, we'd like access to your APIs. And they said, sure, fill out this form, paper form, write us a check for $25,000, and if we like your idea, we'll call you.
Oh my.
And so we went out into the field, and we talked to some providers that had done similar things, that had integrated with this particular company. And we said, how long did it take you to complete your integration? They said, ours was considered fast. We said, what's fast? They go, 27 months. And that's when we paused and we said, wow, there's been no innovation in this industry in 20 years. Someone needs to do something differently. And so if we looked around and we surveyed the landscape, there were a number of tablet computers that were coming, tablet POS systems that were coming out at the time. But usually the refrain was, I want to build a better retail POS because I'm a retailer and I just see how broken it is. And then, you know, they built it for themselves. They realized they had a business and they went broader. Or you found restaurateurs doing a similar thing. I wanted a better restaurant POS, so I built my own. And I still see it today. I know some retailers that are building, smaller retailers that are building their own POS. Large retailers always do it, and they will continue to do it because they're so big, they have big IT staffs that can support it. But what that means is they built it because they wanted to build a better retail POS or a better mousetrap for restaurants. We were frustrated developers, not frustrated restaurateurs or frustrated retailers. We were frustrated developers, and so we wanted to build a better point-of-sale system so that developers could better reach end merchants with the innovative services and features that they're building out. And so we built Clover as a platform first. So we built a point-of-sale system on top of that platform using the APIs that we had built that we make open to everybody. And the reason we did that is because we realized that we couldn't possibly build every feature under the sun for every vertical, right? There's incredible complexity in the merchant realm in just the United States, and to think that we could build every feature and function for every possible, you know, merchant type, we just realized it would be much, much better to harness sort of the creative powers of the developer community and allow them to build specific solutions. And so, and we've really come to that's really come to fruition. So we've shipped over 500,000 Clover Go's, Minis, and mobiles. So we actually have a pretty good footprint out there today. And the first thing we did is we built an app market. So clover.com/app market. We have 250 apps that are in there, and those are essentially concise pieces of functionality that help merchants run their businesses better. So it's everything from Homebase, which is employee timekeeping. So when you log into Clover, they listen for that login event, it fires up their time clock, and Homebase does all the really intricate time and attendance management that, you know, state governments require, right? Did Clover really want to get into enforcing mandatory breaks and storing records for 3 years like you're required to by the Department of Labor? No, but there's this excellent third party that's focused like a laser on it that's really making merchants' lives better. And the only reason they're able to reach a broad set of merchants is because they built it on the Clover platform. We have people who are building concise features like ingredient manager. So a restaurant, if they want to do ingredient manager, they can punch in allergies and it tells them what things in their recipe book they shouldn't make. More recently, we have people who are just using our secure payment application for EMV and PCI. If they use our secure payment app, it takes them out of EMV certification and PCI certification. EMV being the chip card, Eurocard, MasterCard, Visa, PCI being payments card industry compliance. What that means is we now have companies that have built complete point-of-sale experiences that are building on top of the Clover platform, have with their own launcher, and it literally just calls our payment app and some of our underlying services when they need them. So one example of that is Bypass. Bypass is out of Austin, Texas. They're a leader in stadium management software. Like, will we ever build stadium management software? No, it would spin up a team of 50 people to go learn the requirements and then do it wrong and then get it right. It would just take too long. Why not partner with the best? So we partnered with them. They built their product on top of Clover, and now we're at the Rose Bowl, University of Michigan. Seattle Seahawks. We're at Stadium Glen Burnie. We're at stadiums like all over the place, serving tens of thousands of people in some case. I think University of Michigan will have games with 140,000 people in it, and so there's very concise requirements they need. We have another company we just announced recently, ShopKeep. A lot of people have thought ShopKeep's a competitor. Well, they build really nice retail solutions. And so to serve our merchants better, they're building on top of Clover. They're utilizing some of the underlying features of the Clover platform. We will distribute them. They will distribute us as well. And we'll serve merchants better. We'll give them a beautiful, secure hardware platform to really excel and focus on what they do best in retail. Thanks.
And have most merchants transitioned to newer point-of-sale machines because of improved security, the need for not having breaches? And has everyone kind of transitioned now, or are they still kind of coming along with that? You mentioned EMV.
Yeah, there's still, so October of the year before, what was that? The year before last was the EMV mandate. And that specified that if merchants didn't accept chip and PIN, or chip cards, chip and signature, that they're liable for any counterfeit cards that come into their store. Previously, the card issuers would say, if you receive a counterfeit card, well, I as the issuer bank stand behind that card, and it's my fault that I allowed it to be counterfeit, so I'll eat the transactional charge. The mandate to move to EMV says if you don't accept EMV, we no longer will accept those, and that's your fault because we've told you that those cards are liable to be counterfeit, and we will not back you anymore unless you accept chip cards. There has been, on the issuing side, there's been a tremendous amount of progress. 85 to 90% of transactions are EMV now, and merchants that accept EMV. On the merchant side, it's a little more hit and miss. Some places it might just not be necessary. Like if you're a coffee shop and you're selling $2 cups of coffee, a 10-cent cup of coffee for $2. Do you really care if some of it, maybe it's just not worth the hassle for you. Maybe you'll get to it next year or something because you're only losing $20 a year. They don't want to shell out the extra couple $100 to upgrade. But there has been an aggressive movement towards upgrades. One of the things that we've done to help facilitate that is that we've been very aggressive with our semi-integrated solutions. So what that means is that you have situations where someone on this side may have a traditional PC-based point of sale. So there's something like 2,000 PC-based point of sales. Really reflects the heavy fragmentation in the merchant base. So you have PC point of sale makers that may specialize in gyms. You have some that may specialize in hardware stores, jewelry stores, right? They each are a different piece of software that serve their particular needs. So for a lot of these merchants, they may have invested a lot of time and money in a certain solution, and they don't really want to retrain their staff. So we offer really what I consider a third type of integration for them, and that is we have a secure point of sale device like this. This can be a full point of sale, it's Clover Mini, or it can be a payment terminal. It comes with a built-in receipt printer, EMV slot, magnetic stripe reader, has a front-facing camera if you want to use, if you want to redeem your PayPal or whatever, Alipay or whatever it may be. All those things can be integrated. It also has NFC, so you can tap on screen, and we can do PIN capture on screen. It's one of the only devices in the world that can do PIN capture on screen, as well as signature on screen as well. So the way that works in those situations is we have a solution for those software makers where if they don't want to go through full EMV certification, what they can do is they can tether the Clover Mini to their PC-based point of sale or their Android point of sale or their iOS point of sale, and they can run their business the way they do today. When it's time to take payment, instead of taking payment, say, on the embedded sort of this little magnetic stripe reader they may have connected to the PC, which is quite insecure, what they can do is they just go ahead and they hit pay. It'll call the payment application on Clover, take payment, go to the cloud, decrypt the number, come back, and then inform the register that the payment's been successfully completed. So in many ways, we're coming up with solutions that if they like, they can rip and replace, Or if they don't, we're offering solutions where you can plug in Clover as an adjunct or an add-on to handle EMV for you.
And what's the implementation time to get one of those stations set up? You said traditional was like 27 months. How long is it for a Clover station?
Oh, well, so it's 27 months to, if you're a developer, a software developer wanting to get integrated is what we saw. To get started developing on Clover, you just go to clover.com/developers and sign up, and you can download the APKs, and you download all the documentation, and you can start writing code. And so it's not unusual for, I've had software developers email me and say, hey, I'd like to meet with you and talk about what we might be able to do together. And I'll explain how the program works. I'll come in, I'll explain. They'll go, well, we've actually already completed our integration. Do you want to see it? And I'm like, oh, sure. And so they'll actually show sort of a full end-to-end experience. And then they're like, we just wanted to talk about launching. I said, oh, well, great, let's do that. So, and that's one of the benefits of an open platform is you get a lot of innovation.
Is international doing the same things as the United States as far as picking up new ways of doing the transactions? I assume that Europe is for the EMV kind of things, but do you see anywhere else? Are you guys focused internationally or just focusing on the U.S. small businesses, or what's the target?
So we're a subsidiary of First Data, and First Data is very much a broad international company. It's, I think they're in, to double check, but it's 56 countries, 80 countries, something along those lines. Yeah, it's very international. Clover right now is in the United States, United Kingdom, and the Republic of Ireland. We do have an international roadmap, however. It's a little bit more difficult to go international on a payments device than it is, say, if you're selling T-shirts or something along those lines. Every nation has different debit schemes for the most part. A lot of them have different regulatory schemes. And so just because you're in the United States doesn't mean it's easy to go to Canada, for example. Or just because you're in the UK doesn't mean it's easy to get to Italy, right? Every nation has sort of nuance that go beyond language that require work. And so we're being very methodical about what countries we go after next.
Mm-hmm. And is NFC, you mentioned that too, is that getting a lot of traction for the transactions?
Yeah, so one of the exciting things is that we've had, because we're an easy platform to work with, all the big players have been interested in using us as one of their primary vehicles to get to market. So we've been, Android Pay is on this, Apple Pay is on this, Samsung Pay is on this, and there's others that you'll see that are coming. The majority of those all use NFC. So yeah, we do see some traction. It's some locations you see a lot of it, NFC and Apple Pay pickup, and others you don't see as much. We have it seems to be in pockets. We have an Indian restaurant up the road that gets 18% of their transactions are Apple Pay. So if you want to kind of hear about sort of the high end, the outliers. So.
And I just wanted to ask, it's making all the headlines in the media. What do you think about blockchains and Bitcoin? Any opinions on those?
It's a very interesting technology. We've been, we stay perfectly up to date. We've had plenty of people do kind of showcase integrations to show the kinds of things that can be done. There hasn't been the really overpowering market demand for it, I think, at this point in time from a sort of small business or consumer angle. But we continue to watch it, and it's also an evolving regulatory scheme. And so the way we distribute is we distribute through 2,000 banks. And so our banking partners all have opinions and very valid opinions on how those services should be incorporated into the way they do business. And I think until the regulatory schemes get clear, maybe difficult. I think the exciting thing about this is we started the company as a platform. 140 RESTful web APIs, a full complement of Android and Tencent broadcast. So if you've ever used, with Apple, they came out with something recently called fast app switching. So if you're on your iPhone, it's jumping between apps almost seamlessly. Mm-hmm. That's sort of kind of the core architecture, was something that Android is very good at Clover. And so when people integrate with Clover, if you can put essentially your application on here. There's one called Coupons and Combos. I like to share it because it's such a simple application, but it's so powerful. You download the Coupons and Combos app from our app market. Then the owner will go in and specify that they want to print out a coupon if a certain event happens. So let's say if someone buys an appetizer, use our receipt printer to print out a 50% off coupon for their next visit, mm-hmm. right? So how does that work? So someone's in Clover, clerk doesn't even know. They go ahead, someone buys an appetizer. Their app has told our app that if anytime someone buys an appetizer to let them know. So they hit buy. We send out a broadcast, their app is listening, their app goes, oh, great, they fire off an intent, which means give me control of the register temporarily so I can perform the action I need to perform. So in that case, then they will take over a receipt printer, print out the 50% off coupon, hand back control, and then we print out our receipt. And so little things like that are just so powerful that someone can sit in their office, a couple people, and build something and have it so easily integratable that's just very much the beginning. And the way I see it is there's a kind of a spectrum. We started Clover as a platform, and we're finally finding that full culmination of it. So on the one end of the spectrum are people building defined features like coupons and combos, age verification, similar thing. If someone puts cigarettes or tobacco in their basket and you have age verification on, it signals the age verification app. It pops up a modal window, stops the clerk and says, please ask for their age. If it's the wrong age, removes it from the basket. So again, this is two different applications, two different companies essentially interacting to create a better experience for the merchant. These are things that weren't possible in the past. So that's one end of the spectrum. The opposite end of the spectrum is people building full application suites on top of Clover, on top of our operating system, if you will. So building the bypass, the shopkeeps of the world, building full experiences, I think, is really the full culmination of the vision. And it's fun to work on something that's been so consistent with its vision and I think so successful over the past few years.